난 주예린. 너는?
앞으로 더 잘 달리라는 의미에서 주신 만큼 좋은 모습 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
They all took different paths.
둘, 셋! 아이존미! 하나 되는 순간 무릎 꿇게. 안녕하세요, 아이존입니다.
But there was a time when they bloomed together. In 2018, something unfamiliar quietly entered K-pop. Produce 101, a series already known for temporary groups and short-lived runs, crossed a line it had never crossed before by joining forces with AKB48. Korea and Japan. Two systems, two cultures, brought into the same room. On paper, it sounded straightforward. In reality, it felt uncertain from the start. Produce 48 gathered 96 girls and asked them to share one stage. Some arrived with years already behind them. Sakura came with experience, recognition, and expectations shaped by HKT48. Nako came from that same system, carrying her own experience alongside her. Hitomi represented AKB48 itself. These were idols who already had careers, fan bases, and reputations, now stepping into a competition that could quietly pause everything they had built. The Korean side came with different stories. Eunbi returned after previously debuting in a group that never found stability. Chaewon stood close to debut more than once, only to see those chances disappear. Many others walked in with nothing but training rooms, unfinished dreams, and the hope that this time might finally be different. From June to August, the show moved forward week by week. Performances, evaluations, and long nights in practice rooms filled the days. Cameras captured the awkward moments just as clearly as the confident ones. Language barriers showed up during practice. Korean trainees struggled with Japanese lyrics. Japanese idols adjusted to Korean choreography styles. Eliminations came one by one, each goodbye heavier than the last. Somewhere along the way, competition softened. The 96 girls stopped feeling like strangers. It did not feel like unity yet, but it felt closer than before. August 31 arrived with the live finale. Names appeared on the screen, each one finalizing who would debut. Wonyoung ranked first, the youngest among them, already recognized as the show's standout center. Sakura followed, carrying years of history with her. Yuri's voice earned its place. Yena's presence filled the room. Yujin completed the top 5 with a balance that felt natural. The rest followed quickly: Nako, Eunbi, Chaewon, Hitomi, chaewon, Minju, and Chaeyeon. The group name was revealed shortly after: IZONE. The I's represented the number 12 through a visual play on Roman numerals. The 1 stood for unity. The asterisk between them referenced the 12 zodiac signs, suggesting these 12 girls were meant to move forward together. Fans got their name next: WIZ ONE, combining "We Are One" with the idea of creating something special alongside them. But there was no time to sit with it. Debut preparations began immediately. Recording sessions, choreography, filming, and constant travel followed. Exhaustion showed up early. Chaewon somehow balanced all of it while preparing for Korean college entrance exams. Sakura, Nako, and Hitomi officially took hiatuses from their Japanese groups to focus on this new chapter. 2 months. That was all they had. Different systems, different habits, different expectations. Many watched from the outside, unsure if this could ever come together. At the time, nobody knew what would happen next. The 29th of October 2018 marked the official beginning. IZONE held their debut showcase at Olympic Hall in Seoul. Thousands of seats sold out in a single minute. Fans who could not get in gathered online instead, watching through live streams as the 12 members stepped onto the stage. This time, not as contestants, but as a group. Their first mini album, Colorize, arrived in 2 versions, Rose and Color. The tracklist felt familiar at first, with produced 48 songs reworked for their new start. But attention quickly shifted to the new B-sides, led by the title track that would set the tone for their debut, La Vie en Rose, meaning Life in Pink. Originally written for another group, the song found its home with IZONE right before debut. It opened softly, then grew with confidence. Roses filled the screen. The choreography moved as one. The styling felt clean. The vocals sounded steady. Nothing about it felt rushed, even though everything behind the scenes had been. People noticed immediately. Within a day, the music video passed 4 million views. A few days later, it crossed 10 million. The song spread quickly, not just among fans who followed the show, but among listeners who had never watched a single episode. The response showed in numbers too. Albums sold faster than anyone expected. Records fell within days. Charts said the same thing. Korea paid attention, Japan paid attention, so did the rest of the world. On November 1, IZONE stood on the M Countdown stage for the first time. A week later, they held their first trophy. Just 10 days after debut, the fastest first win for a girl group at the time. It happened so fast that many struggled to explain it. Some pointed to the show, some pointed to existing fan bases, but others kept it simple. The song worked, the performance worked, and the 12 members looked comfortable together in a way that did not feel forced. La Vie en Rose became more than a debut. It opened the door to what IZONE called their Flower Trilogy. Color Eyes, Heart Eyes, Bloom Eyes, each release tied to a stage of blooming, of growth. The rose stood for passion, love, and beginnings. And just like that, IZONE had started to bloom. January 2019 took IZONE to Japan. Their first Japanese showcase filled Tokyo Dome City Hall. Fans showed up fast. 5 days later came and within a week, millions had already found it. By early February, IZONE officially debuted in Japan. The response felt immediate. Sales climbed quickly. Charts followed. The single stayed near the top, and platinum certifications came soon after. Japanese fans did not just show interest, they stayed. It helped that 3 members came from familiar ground. Sakura, Nako, and Hitomi opened the door. But once inside, all 12 walked forward together. Promotions filled television studios and radio booths. The group adjusted naturally, moving between languages, stages, and expectations. In March, something unexpected happened. A new version of Jonas Blue's Rise dropped with IZONE members featured on the track. It was a small moment on paper, but it hinted at how quickly their world was expanding. Then April arrived. Heart Eyes marked their first Korean comeback. Even before release, anticipation felt heavier than before. When the album finally landed, it carried a brighter tone, softer colors, lighter emotions, familiar warmth. Stood at the center. Inspired by a fairy tale, the song spoke gently, offering encouragement. It felt like a message meant to be passed along, something shared quietly. The response confirmed what fans already felt. The comeback held its ground. Wins followed. Records moved again. What started as a strong debut now felt steady. By then, the shift was clear. IZONE no longer felt like a new group still settling in. They felt present, established, comfortable on stage. Their first concert tour came soon after. Eyes on Me gave fans time to sit with IZONE, to hear the songs fully, and to share the moment together under the same roof. Japan called again in the summer. Buenos Aires arrived first, followed by Vampire in the fall. Each release showed a new side. Brighter moments gave way to darker tones. The group moved easily between moods, never staying in one place for too long. By the end of the year, IZONE's presence in Japan felt solid. Sales stacked up, stages grew larger, schedules overlapped. Members flew back and forth constantly, carrying the same energy across borders. The pace was heavy. Most groups took years to reach this point. IZONE reached it in months. And beneath everything, the clock kept moving. Time stayed limited. Every release mattered. Every stage felt important. And they knew it, because their time together was never meant to last forever. November 2019 brought the nightmare nobody saw coming. News broke that the voting process behind Produce 48 had been manipulated. The results that shaped IZONE were no longer trusted. What fans believed they had chosen turned out to be decided elsewhere. Everything changed overnight. IZONE's scheduled comeback stopped immediately. Activities paused, appearances disappeared, promotions in both Korea and Japan went silent. The group that had spent all of 2019 moving forward suddenly stood still. None of it came from the members. The 12 had trained, competed, and stood on stage without knowing what had happened behind the scenes. Still, they were the ones left waiting, unable to speak, unable to perform, watching everything they built get questioned. Fans responded first. Messages of support filled everywhere. One line kept repeating, "The members did nothing wrong." But public opinion did not move as easily. Some questioned whether the group should continue at all. Others pushed back, asking why the punishment landed on the ones with no power. The conversation goes on while the members remained silent. Weeks passed, then months. Winter came with no answers. Occasional messages appeared from the members, careful and brief. Nothing more could be said. In January 2020, confirmation finally arrived. IZONE would return. 3 months were gone. Time they could never get back. Momentum slowed. Joy became complicated. Every mention of the group now came with whispers they never asked for. Yet, they continued. But something felt heavy. Their time together was already limited. After the pause, it felt even shorter. The 17th of February 2020 finally arrived. IZONE returned after months of waiting. The album title alone said everything. Bloom Eyes. After everything that had stalled them, questioned them, and silenced them, this comeback let them bloom again. The project was larger than anything they had done before. Every track felt carefully chosen, as if they knew this moment could not be wasted. The album opened quietly, setting the mood. Then came bright, loud, and alive. Fiesta did not sound careful. It sounded confident. The energy burst forward, colorful and full of energy. Watching it felt different. Not like a debut, not like a comeback, more like release. After months of being spoken about instead of heard, the 12 finally stood in front again as IZONE. People responded immediately. The song climbed fast, charts moved, sales followed. The numbers mattered, but what mattered more was what they represented. IZONE were still here, stronger than many expected. Their first win for Fiesta came soon after. On stage, Yoonbi cried. The others followed. It was not just happiness. It was everything they had held in since November finally letting go. For a moment, they could celebrate without hesitation. That moment did not last long. COVID-19 spread quickly. Promotion shortened. Audiences disappeared. Stages emptied. IZONE performed to cameras instead of fans. Concert plans canceled. Once again, everything stopped and took time from them. Still, Bloom Eyes closed the chapter it began years earlier. La Vie en Rose marked the beginning. Violetta offered encouragement. Fiesta showed the full bloom. Through scandal, through silence, through a world that kept interrupting them, IZONE stood on stage again, and they bloomed anyway. March 2020 brought another change behind the scenes. A second company stepped in to help manage IZONE, and the group kept moving forward. By early summer, news of another comeback surfaced. In June, the title appeared, Oneric Diary. A word tied to dreams, something soft, something unreal. The album arrived on June 15. This time, the sound leaned inward, lighter, more delicate. Secret Story of the Swan sat at the center, telling a story about becoming the version of yourself you once imagined. It felt fitting. After everything that had interrupted them, the song sounded like quiet confidence rather than celebration. Fans responded quickly. The music spread, charts followed, sales climbed again. IZONE kept proving that momentum did not disappear just because the world slowed down. But stages were different now. Live audiences were gone. Tours remained canceled. The spaces where fans once gathered stayed empty. So in September, IZONE tried something new. Oneric Theater became their first online concert. Screens replaced seats, time zones blended together. Fans watched from bedrooms, living rooms, and quiet corners of their homes. It was not the same as standing in a crowd, but it was still shared. Between songs, the members spoke directly to the camera. Simple words, small smiles, familiar warmth. For a few hours, distance felt smaller. The format was unfamiliar, but the connection was not. Even apart, IZONE and WIZ ONE were still meeting each other through the music. The 21st of October 2020 arrived with another first. IZONE released their first full Japanese album. The title was simple, 12. One album, 12 members gathered in one place. The lead single appeared earlier in the month, setting the tone before everything came together. The album felt complete. Familiar songs sat alongside new ones as Korean releases found new life in Japanese, and everything that IZONE had built in Japan finally lived in one project. For fans, it felt like holding their journey in their hands. The response was strong. Charts moved quickly, sales followed. Even without promotions, the album found its way to the top. No stages, no fan events, no tours, just the music, carried by fans who had stayed with them through everything. It said a lot. Around the same time, another truth became harder to ignore. Time was running out. IZONE's contract had an end date. April 2021, 6 months left. Everyone knew it. Every release now came with a quiet weight attached. New music still brought joy, but it was kind of felt heavy. Fans listened more carefully. Moments felt smaller and more precious. Happiness mixed with hesitation, as if no one wanted to acknowledge what was waiting ahead. But it was there, no matter how gently it was avoided. And the 7th of December 2020 gave us what would become IZONE's final Korean release. The title said more than it needed to. One Reeler, Act 4. A one-reeler meant a short film running 10 to 12 minutes on a single reel, brief but complete. This album framed itself the same way. A single chapter. A story told from beginning to end. The concept was revealed in scenes. Youth, the time they shared. Becoming one, the bond they built. Standing together, all 12, at their strongest. It felt intentional, like a quiet reflection rather than a grand moment. The album opened softly, then led into Panorama. Before the release, IZONE performed the song for the first time on Mama Awards. It felt unexpected. a preview that stayed longer than usual. The next day, the album arrived alongside a special broadcast, giving fans time to sit with it all at once. Panorama sounded different, gentle, emotional, yet powerful. The song asked listeners to remember, to hold on to bright moments before they slipped away. The message was clear without being spoken. This was IZONE asking not to be forgotten. Fans responded. The album rose quickly, sales followed, wins came. But numbers felt secondary now. Attention shifted to smaller things. The way members stayed close on stage, hands that held a little longer, glances that lasted just long enough to be noticed. Promotions continued into the new year, but April stayed in the background. Every performance carried it. Every encore felt heavier. With each passing week, the meaning of Panorama deepened. A wide frame, a full picture, a way to capture everything before it became memory. No one said goodbye yet, but everyone felt it coming. The 11th of February 2021 brought the announcement everyone feared. IZONE would hold a final concert before their contract ended in April. It was titled One the Story. 2 days, March 13 and 14, online only, with fans around the world watching from wherever they were. At first, there was hope. Maybe this was not really the end. Maybe talks were still happening behind the scenes. Maybe the concert would lead into something else. But March 10 erased that hope. 3 days before the concert, confirmation arrived. IZONE would disband in April. No extension, no continuation. The concert was the real goodbye. Fans who bought tickets thinking they were witnessing a turning point now knew they were watching the end. The timing hurt. The pandemic had already taken away in-person farewells. Now there would be no final tour, no crowd, no voices singing back to them, just screens. March 13 and 14 arrived anyway. One the Story walked through everything, from debut to the present, title tracks, B-sides, unit stages, moments meant to remember. It felt complete, almost too complete. The performances were strong, confident, steady. 2.5 years of work showed in every movement. Even through a screen, it was clear how far they had come. Then the talking began. That was when everything broke. Members spoke one by one. Tears came fast and did not stop. chaewon struggled to breathe through her words. Nako cried openly. Yujin could not stay steady. Yoonbi tried to hold everyone together, even as her voice shook. Minju's words hit the hardest.
원래 저는 혼자가 늘 익숙하고 챙김받는 게 서툴고 그랬었는데요. 이제는 혼자가 된 저를 상상하는 게 잘 안 될 정도로.
The youngest talked about missing her unis. No one tried to hide anything. At the end, the members stood together one last time.
네, 위즈원 진심으로 감사드립니다. 지금까지 아이돌이었습니다. 감사합니다. 울지 마.
And the story came to an end.
너무너무 고마워요, 위즈원. 영원히 잊지 않을게요. 감사합니다.
But fans refused to accept it. The Parallel Universe project began almost immediately. WIZ ONEs around the world came together and raised nearly $1 million to fund contract extension negotiations. The goal was simple: keep IZONE together. Create a version of reality where this goodbye did not happen. For a moment, it felt possible. Talks were confirmed. Maybe the money would work. Maybe the agencies would cooperate. Maybe magic could happen twice. Then it ended again. Negotiations failed. The reunion was canceled. Whatever happened behind closed doors did not matter anymore. The results stayed the same. IZONE would not continue. The 29th of April, 2021 passed. 2 years and 6 months together. 12 members returned to their agencies. The project that survived scandal and a global shutdown reached its limit. Not because of failure, because time simply ran out. 5 years have passed since WIZ the story ended. 5 years since the last stage, the last messages, the last time all 12 stood together. And yet, it still hurts. Not because of numbers, not because of records, but because of what IZONE gave during their short time together. They were comfort when things felt heavy. They kept going through scandal, through silence, through a world that kept interrupting them. Their music felt personal, like pages written in real time. Each comeback marked a moment we lived through with them. 30 months made everything matter more. Every stage, every song, every smile. We held on tighter because we knew time was limited. The goodbye never felt complete. No final tour, no last crowd, just screens, tears, and silence. That unfinished ending is why the memories never faded. They asked us to remember, to take a panorama, to hold on to those moments forever. We did, we are, and we will. Because WIZ won forever. IZONE forever. We are one.